Ting! Oh, I could squeeze you.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone. Unpicked is back with me, Stuart, and of course, over there on the other side is our friend Ting, who I know many of you absolutely adore. A year's gone by, Ting.
I know. It actually does seem like a year. It seems like this hasn't been on for a while. I know sometimes you go, oh, it's gone really quickly, but it feels like it's been a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Lots happened in that year. You're still teaching, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm still at the shop. We used to be colleagues and work together a long time ago before I left teaching to come to my shop, but we've still remained very good friends there. And Ting has helped me with the whole shop because of his business side of things. And we kind of stumbled into doing the sewing bee because I had a fabric shop as well as a yarn shop. So we started informally doing little chats, and then before you know it, we ended up doing it on the computer, and then COVID came along, so we did it on Zoom, and we've pretty much stayed here ever since, haven't we?
Well, it's easier for me anyway.
Absolutely. The idea of it is we've called it the companion show, and I often say this at the beginning of every year. My family were big football fans, and they always loved the chat afterwards, the pundits and the analysis. And I was always quite jealous that I could never get involved in that chat because me and football. And then the sewing bee came up, and because of YouTube and technology, the wonders about YouTube is you find the content that you like and you want to watch more of, and there you are. The two sort of merged, and we decided to do the companion show for the sewing bee because we wanted to talk about it. We wanted to because I couldn't do it anymore with Ting at work, have those chats that you would have in the office where you go, did you agree with who went? And then you have those wonderful discussions of where you don't agree or do agree, or whose did you like, whose you didn't like. And that is what this show's about, isn't it, Ting?
Oh, absolutely. It's just like you say, it's that water cooler moment where you have your conversation about what you saw and whether you agree with each other. And you and I often don't agree with each other, which is why I think everyone likes to see what we've got to say. But I think that's the thing is it's just being able to talk about it with someone else
Yeah.
and see if you agree or disagree.
And of course, some people don't have many sewing friends, but the beauty of YouTube is we're your friends wherever you are, and you can join in with us in the comments too. I think I'd like to be quite proud of our show because this is now, I think, our 7th year of doing it, and we've over those years had many XBs come on to the show too, and we know the bees watch. I'd like to think that because of our teaching background, Ting, that we perhaps do critique and evaluate in a honest but fair way. I'm not saying that other people don't, but I think perhaps that's why they like to come to us, because we try to look at things maybe through a criteria or through what the judges are thinking of the criteria.
Yep. Unless I haven't had enough coffee or sleep, in which case I could be quite a loose cannon. But I think that is, what we've always tried to do. We've not necessarily gone after particular sewers and their skill ability, because let's face it, you and I are sat here and
Yeah.
not on the program ourselves. It's more about the program, the format, the timings. And yeah, we do look at some of them and go, well, because inevitably someone's is slightly better than someone else's, but it's not a direct criticism of each individual sewer. And sometimes, as often as I disagree with Esme over her favourites, we all have our favourite. It might be a colour or a pattern or a design that just leans us towards something.
Yeah.
It's not in anything inherently nasty. Or it's certainly not meant to be.
No, and I think that's why people like watching our show, because they can agree or disagree, and then of course that conversation goes in the chat and the comments, and people do join in, and I think people are considerate of that when they comment too. We've got some comments already from our little preview, which was a view.
I'm sorry, that preview did not put me in a good light.
Well, Christina says, always enjoy your thoughtful critiques and the hilarity of the delivery. I will be watching again. Then we have Denise. Denise goes, excellent, can't wait. Love you guys. And Ting's slipper throw makes for the best entertainment. Just quickly recap for perhaps new viewers that have never watched us, the whole concept of the slipper, Ting.
Well, the slipper's not even really a sewing bee thing. The slipper started with Strictly Come Dancing, in that if you didn't agree with perhaps who was in the bottom two or who left, then the figurative and sometimes literal slipper got thrown at the TV for not agreeing with the judges. And so, naturally, when we start criticizing things here, things we don't agree with,
Yeah.
if I don't agree with it, I will fling a slipper.
Yeah.
So the slipper count is normally well, it was actually relatively low last series. I think they'd clearly listened to me
Yeah.
and reformatted, because if you watch previous series, the slippers were flying left and right. I ran out of feet with the amount of slippers that were
Yeah.
going. But maybe after last year we've got a bit more less slippers going around. But that's what they are. If they come out, that's because I've taken particular umbrage to something.
Brilliant. Chopper says, oh, my favourite companion show is coming back. Can't wait. And we finish off with Lisa. Yay, I'm looking forward to Unpicked as much as, if not more than, the bee itself. Kettle will be on. Slippers are in a pile beside me. Isn't that great? Love it. So there we are. So that's the idea. We go through all the rounds together. We talk about what was made. We have a few pictures in the early days, because if we went through all 12 in deep analysis, it would be like a 3-hour show. So we'll look at the top two and the bottom two for a couple of weeks before we start getting our favourites. And then we put the pictures on for most of them as the season progresses. So if you can't watch it, because I know many of you are in America or Canada and you can't access it, but you want to watch it with everyone else as it's going live. So I know many people have commented how much they love our show because they've got the pictures. So that's wonderful. So if you do leave a comment, we like to put those comments or just a variety of them at the beginning of every show, because they tend to be talking about something from the previous week, whether you agree with us or not. And it's always a joy to read them. But shall we meet the bees?
I think we better.
There we go. The class of 2026 and a brand new presenter, Sophie, who is new to meeting. What about...
Did you not?
No,
Okay.
no, nothing about her at all.
Oh, right. Well, for those of you that watch Taskmaster and some of those panel shows, she has been on there. She was hilarious on Taskmaster. Loved her on there. But yeah, so I thought she did really well.
Absolutely. Yes. She just seemed really relaxed. That's how it came across, and not so forced. The 12 sewers, there they are. Did you have any favourites from the off?
Well, it always makes me laugh because you come on here and you tell everyone I'm a teacher, and I think there's an expectation that I should be able to look at those 12 names and remember them. And no, it'll take me 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll still be saying the one that did the red dress or the one that did this. So unless something happens where, I normally remember the person who left.
Yeah.
And I'm not even that good with the person who won, but it'll be 2 or 3 weeks before I'll be able to pin it down. But we did have some good sewers. I say that they were all good.
Yeah.
They've made it onto the show.
Yeah.
But there were some exceptional ones there. But what we've got is, as you would expect, there is a full range of ability. There are a couple of people who've been sewing for just a couple of years. And that shows because, we're all the same when we first start. We haven't necessarily got all the techniques under our belt, but there were also some people there who've been sewing for a number of years, and equally that shows. They're slightly more competent. They know the shortcuts and they know what they can do. So I think it's nice to have that range of ability, because you're still then going to get a range when it comes to the judging. I mean, it would be lovely if to think they all had only been sewing for 2 years, or they'd all been sewing for 20 years, but it would be a completely different show if that was the case.
Yes. Yeah. And what we know about the Sewing Bee and Love Productions is they have nailed this format. They know how to do it. They know how to do the audition. They know all the dates. They know how to edit it down. They know where to stand. They know the shots. And that's what really works. And as you mentioned just a little while ago, they definitely did do something last series. So that was series 11. I think it felt for
Yeah,
us.
they watch this
It,
show.
it was flagging. It was tired format, and I think someone said, "Come on, we've really got to do something," because the challenges were better. They were more thoughtful. They had worked really hard on the format, and that just shows because, as you rightly said, fewer slippers were hurled, and we were generally going, "That's great, that's great." And I felt from this first episode, boom, we were off, and I was going, "Oh, I'm loving this. I'm really excited." And then the hour went by, but considering we've just seen Game of Wool and that new format of the game show into 45 minutes because of the ads, you look at this format and it's so slick, isn't it?
But I mean, not to belittle, there's plenty of places on the internet that have belittled the game of wool. But you've got to remember that this and the Pottery Throwdown and the Great British Bake Off, they are love productions. They have got it down pat. They know exactly how to do that. With all their variations, you've got Junior Bake Off, you've got the Professional Bake Off. The format is there. So there is no excuse for them
Yeah.
now to really get anything wrong. They've got so many different formats that they should be able to go, well, we know exactly how to hold
Yeah.
this together.
But there's something about that gives comfort to the viewer watching it.
You know exactly what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
That and
Yeah.
that is part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, the familiarity is there, even though every week or whichever format you are. I mean, I must admit, I watch all of them. I love the pottery and the Bake Off as well. But you know what you're going to get, the
Yeah.
rough format and how it's going to be, and you can't argue with it.
Yeah, that's right. It works. So let's go straight into it then. The pattern challenge. We're doing exactly the same. I'll explain the challenge to you, and then we'll have a look at a few of the pictures. So, the theme this week, Ting, was British summertime. They were set for the pattern challenge to make a pair of summer shorts. Elastic at the back, 2 patch pockets, fake fly, a lot of top stitching, but there was a necessity for the top stitching to be done in a contrast thread. They could choose a fabric that shows something about your style. So they were obviously going to be looking at that, but also that works well with the features in the short. And there was an instruction that the facing needs to be understitched. They had a whopping 2 hours and 45 minutes. But it did seem a little make, though, didn't it, to be fair?
I mean, it did. I mean, given our current summer situation, I think I'd have rather have just had a G-string rather than a pair of shorts, because that's what I feel I'd be wearing around the
Yeah.
house. I don't know if I'd go out in public, but the weather we've been having, it was quite apt to have this as, and I thought it was a good make in that it wasn't overly complicated. Had a nice flat front, it had the gathered back, and then you just had the bit of detail, with the fake fly and the top stitching that just elevates
Yeah.
that as a challenge rather than just being 3 or 4 bits of material sewn together. So I thought it was a good one, especially for when you've got all 12, where, like we've just said, you've got that full range of ability there as well.
Absolutely. I would feel if I was a bee, I would go, this is actually a nice challenge. It would settle me a bit. I can do this, but there is a little bit of that skill in the top stitching. But because there's a lot of it, I could just get my head down and do it. It didn't seem too many other things. So I thought this was a great first one to go. Ideally, I wouldn't want anyone to go. I still think that for week one, no one should go.
I think that's the same with everything.
Yeah.
We've said it for Strictly, we've said it for this, we've said it. You always want like a week. I mean, in an ideal world, a couple of weeks just to
Yeah.
get to know people, let them settle down, let them get the feel for it, so then they don't feel under pressure. Just being on the show for the very first
Yeah.
time.
And there they are. All finished and complete. Maybe Sam just a bit short with a couple of stitches, but they were all there. And look at them. Did you have a favourite, Ting? Did you go, I love that, regardless of where they came?
Um, no.
No? You did?
No, I think it was too overwhelming. I've
Yes.
told you this before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
There's
lot.
12 of them. I was trying to watch their names as they came
Yeah.
up. They didn't always refer to their names. I was trying to then track who was doing what. Then I got distracted by some of the choices of fabric, which I think, I love a discussion about that. So we can come back to that in a moment. But I think generally, even when you look at it like there, and yeah, you've already mentioned that Sam was the one who had the major issues with a
Yeah.
bit of stitching, but they all look good.
Yeah. Oh,
there's areas that could be improved,
yeah,
but they all look good. It wasn't a horrific, and we've said that even with this short time, 2.5 hours. We've seen it before where half of them have not finished a make, and
yeah,
you go, well, that's not
yeah,
right. That
yeah,
they clearly don't have enough time for that. Whereas, all barring a couple of things,
yeah.
everyone pretty much finished.
So let's look at the bottom two and the top two. So we've mentioned Sam. Sorry, Sam, to start at the bottom. Um, but it was pretty much there. As I said, it was just this little bit here where perhaps he ran out of thread, finishing off the top stitching.
Well, Annie's fly was on the wrong side.
Yes, yeah, yeah. But that's easy to do. I would do that all the time.
Well, I knew you would defend that because
Oh dear. And then Adele was 11th. Now, Patrick said as they were going around discussing, oh, you're going for white? White on. And I was like, well, it's contrast. But he said, you sure you don't want ecru or beige or something? Like, how do you feel about
I think
that? Because I feel
so.
that she's in the bottom because of the choice of colour.
I mean, it will be partly to that. She was also a bit wonky on her top stitching and everything. But I think, going back, I said I want to discuss fabric choice,
Yeah.
and we'll go back to, hopefully, we can go back to the main
Yeah.
picture in a little bit. But I think it's always good. It kind of highlights sometimes people's confidence with certain patterns or everything or not. And I think white was too stark. I think, they were instructed it had to be a contrast, but use a color that complements what you've got. So a cream or an ecru or a stone would have been better. The white is so stark that then where it is wobbly with the
Yeah.
top stitching, you're going to see it. I mean, you're always going to see it because they were all supposed to do contrast, but
Yes.
the white is so stark, and that's where you've got to be a bit more
Yeah.
confident with your choices. I feel rather than just going, "Oh, it needs to be stark." It's not. It needs to be complementary.
Well, let's go to the fabric because they were supposed to choose a fabric that shows something about their own personal style, which, for whatever reason,
I
you
I
can't
don't.
assess that, can you? But it's just, it's nice, isn't it?
It's nice. It's nice to do that, but again, this is where I feel you start to see the people who are slightly more experienced with this because there's some people on there they've gone, oh, I love this fabric because I'm a fun, bubbly person who likes whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any particular thing, um, and so they choose that fabric because to them the fabric represents them. Then you'll get the seasoned sewer who will go, I need the right weight of fabric. I need the right texture of fabric.
Yeah.
I will need it because I'm going to be sewing a pair of shorts for the summer. Once I've narrowed that down, I will look at this range and go, oh, this fabric suits me. I think, where I struggled with some of these is some of them had quite a big pattern on. So I can't see because it's only Lewis whose head is over the top of all the mannequins. But the second one in next to, I think it was Tib on the end with the yellow, was it bananas or something? But the second one in from that, I think that had lobsters on, didn't
Yes,
it?
that is
That one there.
that is Heather because I've actually got a picture of Heather's. Yeah.
Okay, well, so my issue with that is the pattern wasn't big enough. I feel that because of the cuts you made, we can't really see it on this one,
Yeah.
but because of the cuts and everything that you've made to the fabric, you lost a lot of those lobsters.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I think what you either needed to do, you either needed to have a smaller pattern. Now, I didn't. Oh, hello.
I know I've got a new
Oh, don't tell
toy.
me you've got
I've got a
new
new toy.
pictures. Oh, here we go. Normally it's the pen, but now we've got the blackout. So the one that had the red pockets, I didn't like the red pockets on that. I thought it was too much of a contrast. But they also had like little red bows on, and that pattern was smaller. So I feel that that worked.
Yes.
Or you needed to go big with the pattern so that when you made the cuts, it didn't cut out,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there was one, and I think it's possibly that bluey purpley one, and also the banana one that Tim did. The pattern was a little bit bigger or a little bit more repetitive,
Yes.
so it didn't matter when you cut it
Got
up.
more of
There
it.
was a middle-sized pattern that didn't really
Yeah.
work, and you got lost in the hems and the creases and the all of the sewing. And the lobster, I feel, was one of
Well, it
those.
was.
And I felt. I felt that that didn't help, and that's where sometimes you have to either go, well, we've got to try and pattern match.
Yeah.
Now that's a nightmare,
Yeah.
or that pattern needed to be a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger, so it didn't look out of
Yeah.
place when it was cut up.
Completely agree, and that's where I suppose we saw the skill come through. And then if you look at Anna, who is the other side, who was first.
I know she won, but I didn't like the red pocket, so that's just a personal
Of
thing. It's
course.
nothing. It was sewn absolutely wonderfully. I just thought that the red was too in your face.
Well, she was the only one that went for contrast patch pocket, wasn't she?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
colour would you have done, do you think, then, if you were there on that?
Oh,
Would
I don't know
you?
because I don't know what else was there. I would have. I mean, I'm much more of a navy or a green.
Yeah.
I would have done something like that. I think was it Lewis that had the green ones, or there
Yeah,
was a
the
second one
solid.
in that was
Yeah.
green. I probably would have gone with something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lewis.
those greeny ones
Yeah.
there.
Oh, but if you were doing Anna, and we're still going to go for the contrast patch pocket, what colour would you have picked out?
Well, I
we'll,
probably wouldn't
we'll
have
leave
done
it
it.
there then.
That's not. It's not me because I feel that that draws attention to my
Yeah.
pockets too much. That was a very big pocket to be a
Yeah.
contrast. Um, I know why she's done it because the red is the small bows. Um, I don't know if I don't know if I would have done a con. It's
Okay.
just not me to do a
I
contrast like that.
I just loved it, and I kind of, you know me, I just thought, I think you might be
Yeah.
my favourite already.
I mean, she is very quirky. I will give her
Yeah.
that, and that can work for you on this
Yes.
because she's quirky because she's also sewn a lot of her own
Yeah.
outfits because she likes
They're
quirky.
good.
So that could be a real benefit here.
I've looked at her Instagram. Very,
Oh, of
very
course you
talented
have.
with some of the makes. Oh, and then let's look at number two because it was very close. Apparently, Beth, which was the fabric
This
that you were
is the one.
talking
Yeah.
about, she just missed that criteria point of the facing needing to be understitched, and she hadn't done it. But what I liked about Beth was she gave some oomph back to Patrick. Well, is it noticeable? Can you see it?
Well, yes, it was, which is why I was surprised she got second. To be fair, I thought she'd have been a little bit further down for that.
Well, now here starts one of our conversations, and a potential slipper thrown from me with
From you.
criteria. So
Oh, here we
I
go.
agree. I agree. If she's missed off a part of the criteria, you know, like with assessment with students, we'd have bands, wouldn't we? If you got 1 to 12, well, is it band 1 to 3, and then 3 to 6, and so forth, and you put them in. Can she not be in the top band? So can she not be in 1 to 3 because she's missed the criteria off? In fact, would you put her right down to 5th because she's missed a piece of criteria off? No matter how brilliant the rest of it is, she can't get in the top 5 because she's missed a criteria off.
Well, yes. I mean, if I was marking an essay, you're looking at the bands and it says, that you have to provide a balanced argument. And if you don't have a balanced argument, you can't enter the top
Yeah,
band. So there would be an argument that your marks are then capped somewhere. And, that was the only, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm in slipper territory, but it did kind of jar me a little bit to think you pulled her up on it, you made a big
yeah,
thing of it, and yet she came second.
yeah,
Now, yes, her top stitching was great, everything else was great, but she did miss an element out. Now, if you go to the other end of the scale, okay, it's not as bad as Sam's, but Sam didn't quite finish the hem around the thing, and he'd put the fake zipper on the wrong side.
yeah. But
But all he'd done is not done something in the
yeah,
criteria,
yeah,
but was then thrown right down the
yeah,
bottom. So I can understand your frustration, and I think that there were other people there who might have had just a bit of wobbly top stitching, but they had everything.
yeah.
There is an argument of like she should have been the top of the people who hadn't done
Yeah.
everything.
Now, just want to come back because there might be new viewers here watching, and they might start saying, "Oh well, why do you watch it then?" What? And it's like
For this,
we are purposely debating, aren't we?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
to create a discussion. It's to have that nice sewing discussion of what do you think? What do you think? Because I
If
know,
you think if a viewer thinks that she absolutely deserved to be there, then that's your opinion, and that's
yes,
absolutely fine with that. I'm not saying she should have come last. I think especially when you've got 12 people, trying to rank them is always going to be difficult. And we're not there. We can't see
Yeah.
absolutely everything, but don't make a point of it in the judging and
Yeah.
then point out that she's not done it and then still put her second.
But I just wanted to make for new viewers, because I know sometimes when you're reading comments, you'll get those people who go, oh, well, don't watch it then, turn it off. But we like these discussions, and we like talking about perhaps what was their thinking, what was going on there, because we just want to talk more sewing. So it's nice to do. Okay, transformation challenge then. Ting, I'm embracing the transformation challenge this season.
Are you?
I am really getting into it. Before we move on, I've got some fabric that I've put into the
Not two old men's shirts, is it?
No, it's some beautiful lace embroidery. Look at this. It's
Oh, and you're going to ruin that somehow, are you?
I am. I'm going to cut it up, and over the season, all right, over 10 weeks, I'm going to turn
That's
this
how long it'll take you.
because it's got some really nice lacy bits. Look at these end bits.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
I'm going to make a tank top like this
Right.
out of this. But I'm not doing it in 90 minutes. I'm doing it over 10 weeks.
Well, that's about right for you.
Viewers, if you want to join in with your own transformation, have you got some fabric lying around? Have you got a lovely piece of fabric where you've gone, oh, I don't really want to cut it up because I don't know what to do? Well, now's the time. I want you to join in as we embrace the transformation challenge this series. We're not going to moan at it. We're not going to hate it because everyone, we often do that every year. And we're going to embrace the design element into it. Let's bring out that creativity, which is why it's there. I understand its place. There are people who like to follow a pattern, aren't there, Ting? And there are people who are just wonderfully creative that don't need a pattern. That's what
They're not always sewing bee contestants, to be fair.
So that's what we're going to do. So positivity for the transformation challenge. And boy, I loved it. I don't know about you. They had to turn barbecue aprons into a bag with a specific function. Bravo for this first transformation challenge from me. What about you?
Look, I can't start bringing out all the love for this because we'll lose thousands of viewers because everyone knows I hate the transformation challenge. However, I did feel that of all the transformation challenges we've had, this wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, it wasn't the windbreaks, was it?
I still don't understand why you'd take your best apron off the hook and decide to run yourself up a bag with it. But, you know, all's fair in love and war. Okay.
They were allowed 2 aprons each. They could take fastenings and webbing, but no decorative trim or fabric. 90 minutes. Here is the group shot. It's a bit far away, but you kind of get a picture of it, a glimpse of it. I thought there was some cracking bags.
I will give you that. I will say that in 90 minutes, for what we got there,
Yeah.
it was very good. My issue comes, as it always is, with the judging.
Yeah.
Because they were told, and we were told, that they had to make a bag with a purpose. But a bag is a bag at the end of the day. How do you convey that purpose without saying, oh, I made a sewing bag, or I made a knitting bag, or I made a fishing bag, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was very difficult. A bag is a bag, and like they're looking at it, going, oh, well, we're not sure what this bag is. And I know some of them were very obvious. Someone had done a very good job of trying to make a hat box bag sort of thing. And someone did make a knitting bag, and they'd found some wool from somewhere and chucked it into it, helped somehow.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking at a bag, it's not always obvious what that bag is for. Or you might buy a bag and not use it for the purpose that it was designed for.
Well,
and I think that they were given a bit of a critique over, well, not really sure what this bag is for. It's for putting stuff in, Esme. It's for putting stuff in, and whatever that stuff is, whether it's cream cakes, whether it's knitting needles, it was a bag at the end of the day. Critique the sewing, not whether you could interpret what should be inside that bag.
Well, and this is perhaps where we get on to my slipper, where I did hurl it.
So you're now on your second possible virtual slipper.
No, I'm not allowed to throw slippers. It's you. Because what you were saying is basically Tim. He
Well,
had
no,
an
I mean,
apple
no.
picking.
Tim made an apron with a pocket on the front. I'm
He
sorry,
had an apple. He had an apple picking bag, but
but it was still an apron.
he couldn't tell them it was an apple picking bag
No,
unless he
that's
embroidered
fine.
apples on the front. But is that not a bag though, with a
Well,
specific
so I
purpose?
Yes, and I mean, I'm now going to have to backtrack a little bit because it is a bag. It has an opening,
Yeah.
it has a fastening, and it has a way of carrying it. The way he chose to carry it was over his neck, so it looks like an apron. I think if he had turned it more into like a crossbody bag, because I mean, I've
Yeah.
never been apple
Yeah.
picking, but
That bit.
I feel that putting it right in front of you wouldn't necessarily be. It would be more off to the side. I mean, I'm guessing here, but I think also because this is a transformation challenge where you are taking an apron, it needs to not look like an apron. So turn it into a bigger satchel with a longer crossbody thing, rather than relying on the apron neck
Okay.
to carry it.
So you kind of agree with Patrick when you said you still think it's too aprony.
I think for this challenge, Tim might come on here, and we forgot to mention
Yeah.
that Tim is from our homeland, so we should
Yes.
technically be backing him all the
Well,
way.
we
But
are at the moment.
well, we are. But I think this was the transformation challenge, and if you step back and you go, this still looks like a shirt, a bed sheet, an apron, then you haven't done the challenge properly. He had obviously added all the bag elements to it, but it looked like an apron. So therefore, they are going to pick you up on that.
Yes. It is annoying because when you transform something, I don't think that means it has to go from 1 to 100. A transformation can still be
No, but it needs to go
somewhere in the
from
middle.
1 to about 80. That was still sitting at like 3 or 4 because it looks like an apron,
Okay, so they put him last for it.
which was harsh, but
I know
okay.
exactly. Well, this is where the slipper went for me. And sorry, Beth, I'm talking about you again. Beth, did Beth make a bag?
No, no,
But,
she didn't.
but,
She made a couple of accessories on a belt.
but she was very clever with doing what you said at the beginning, trying to tell the judges what she was making by writing on there. So the judges knew, oh, this is where, I'm a long distance runner. I put my water in there. But how did they not see it's not a bag?
Well, the thing is you could criticize Beth for trying to be too, I don't know, too stand out, trying to do something. I can't think of the word I want to
Well, it's
use.
so
But
clever. It's
I
immaculate.
mean, it is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
It's a good piece of sewing. You
absolutely.
can't do that. And based on what we've just said about going from 1 to 100, absolutely, it's at the other end of
Yeah.
100. Is it a bag though? And I suppose you could argue, well, yes, you can put your bottle in there and you can put your fuel in there. But I'd also like to see her out running in that, where it collects every bead of sweat because it looks like it's a denim fabric, and lugging around a bottle. Once it's laden down with all your water and your sweat, that looks like it's
It,
going to cause. I don't see many people out running with things like this.
I
I think it was a bit of a leap.
I would be interested to see what viewers say, whether they noticed it was a bag straight away and went, whoa, or have they thought about it afterwards, because Beth was placed second out of 12 and Tim was based last.
At the other end, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Let's do that and let's do that so we can put them side by side. And I'm like, oh dear, this is where, and it's not the sewers, is it? It's down again to criteria. And I know we're nitpicking here, but to me, that was quite obvious that that's not really a bag,
Yeah, it
a
was.
pocket, as you
Yeah,
say. But then
it's
bag
a
carries
difficult
things,
one.
doesn't it? But you
Well,
tend to think a
yeah,
bag is in your
that
hand.
one carries apples. That one carries a
Oh,
water
that's
bottle.
it. Yeah.
Where do you put the distinction in?
Are we assuming that the bag has to have handles, that you've got to have it around? And that's where you can argue, well, just because it doesn't have
Yeah,
handles,
but
it isn't a bag.
you you could have made in effect a bum bag, couldn't you? Which you would wear around your waist. You'd still call it a
You
bag,
would,
wouldn't you?
you would. So it's. I just felt for Tim there. I thought, well, 12. Okay, there's
I think Tim's problem is it looked too
yeah.
much like an
Okay,
apron.
so if it wasn't, if it is, as Patrick said,
If he'd taken the bib bit off,
yeah.
if he'd done it so the handles came right down, and he'd have done it from there, and as I said, made it more of a crossbody, I think he'd have been fine.
Yes, but if it's still too aprony, can you not put him fifth, sixth?
Well, who would you have put? Who would you have put last then?
Probably Lewis.
Well, but that wasn't right. He again, his problem was they were like, well, we don't really know what it
Well,
is.
yes,
But
yeah,
it was a waterproof bag. It's got the handles on. It's got a short handle and a long
yeah.
handle. It's got the outside pockets. I was quite shocked that that was deemed to be second
Well,
from
yeah, he was
bottom.
11th. Yeah. So we had Tim rock bottom, Lewis next, and then Beth a bag, not a bag, second. But who was first? Again, wow.
I think that was very well constructed. I don't like the two fabrics. I don't think they go well together at all. But they were given a rack of aprons.
Indeed.
You've got to find two that kind of complement each
Yeah.
other. But the construction of it and getting it to do what you want. Although I haven't seen many people actually walking up and down with hat boxes. I'm not sure the
Oh,
practicality of it.
I've
Let's put it that
seen
way.
loads.
I think the last one I saw was in Pretty Woman. Big mistake.
It's
Big, huge as she walks out the shop with her hat box.
oh, it's yeah. But there we go. There's all the bags there for you with a specific purpose. Some more obvious than others. But by this point, I'm thinking, wow, Anna and Beth, first and second
Yeah.
in both rounds, they're going for it.
Although obviously, we're slightly concerned over the second
Oh yes,
placement
yeah,
of both of
yeah.
those rounds.
So there we go to the made to measure. Now this was a first, wasn't it? Oh. The made to measure was to make an outfit for a perfect summer's day. They were interested in knowing what's a perfect summer's day for all the bees. They were allowed to practice at home. They needed a story. Don't we love the story ones? The story of a perfect summer's day is how do you, I don't know, mark that? Because everyone's story is so personal to them, isn't it?
Well, exactly, because my perfect summer's day is the curtains drawn, the windows shut, the fan on, and me sat in a pair of pants on the sofa. So, I don't go out in the sun. I don't do well in the heat. That would be my
Yeah.
perfect summer day with someone bringing me ice lollies every 20
So
minutes. So if I'd have just made a pair of pants, would I have been all right?
well, that's it. That's the problem, isn't it? You can't mark you down because of that, because that's your story.
That's my perfect summer day, in the
And as
dark.
and as Esme,
I have not opened my curtains downstairs for 3 weeks just to try and keep this house cool.
Oh,
It's just been
viewers,
horrific.
I have missed him just as much as you have.
Because we've not seen each other for a
I
few
know,
weeks.
I
either,
know.
Because I've been busy marking exam papers as
You-
well, and with all my curtains shut to keep the house cool.
They've said it was an open brief, and Esme said about fitting them properly. But the most important thing was they didn't have much money. The budget had been cut, so they they couldn't have the models this year. So they had to model it on themselves and fit it on themselves. Which we jest with that. No, of course they had plenty of money, but. A nice idea, do you think? Being able, because they make clothes for themselves, they've got their own measurements.
They have, but this is the sewing bee. It's made to measure. And I feel that they've been listening to us too much because the first thing Patrick said when they did the cutaway was exactly what I
Yeah.
would have said, which is, oh, well, it should be easy because they can practice at home and the model is themselves. But it's really difficult to fit things to yourself. And it is. That's the thing. People probably sat there initially and went, oh, well, that's going to be really easy because they could have sat at home. They could have practiced this hundreds of times. They know what they
Yeah,
need
for
to
week
do
one.
and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's fine. But this is a made to measure challenge where you have to get it to fit. And if you've got a model that you can pin and you
Yeah.
can put your tucks in and you can do whatever you need to do, that is easier than going, can you just get that loop there? And can you just feed
That's
it
right,
round
which
this
is what they
bit
were
here?
doing, weren't they? Yeah.
it was hard. I think that was
Yeah.
hard. I don't think it was as easy as perhaps people would have gone, oh, it's week one. That's something relatively easy for them to do.
I've got a few pictures to look at. We won't go through all 12. And of course, I've started with Anna because I just loved it. I thought this was so clever. Out of the recycled linen tablecloths and whatnot, right up my street because I've done that before. I loved it. Did you not love that?
I
Yeah.
did,
Could
yes.
you appreciate
And
it? Sorry, I don't want to force that
I,
down you.
I I appreciated it because the last thing I would do is wear an old tablecloth. But her style, and you saw that from the pictures we saw of her things and that throughout the show.
Yeah,
It absolutely, for this is something that was made to measure to fit you and your style. This was absolutely her down to
yeah,
a T, and the sewing was brilliant.
yeah.
Again, you couldn't really fault it.
I mean, look at that. Just one little aspect that they pointed out. But I mean, that's not far out anyway, is
Oh,
it,
here we go.
really? Absolutely stunning.
None of us would have seen
No.
that. No.
We then go on to I've picked out the ones that I was like, oh, I really like that, and try to get to know names
Yeah.
too. Heather, I really like this when you see the fabric. Love the
Yes,
fabric
the fabric is nice there. Yeah.
and the piping on there. But also, Heather, sorry about this one because this is basically your boobs full close up. But look at that, the pattern placement of that fabric, that beautiful bird there. And it's in three panels. We've got the middle panel and the other two at the side. Was that not magnificent?
I think that goes to show someone who could we perhaps zoom back
Oh,
out a little
sorry.
bit?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that goes to show someone who has been sewing for a
Yeah.
while to be able to take a very pattern heavy fabric. You can see that from the rest of the dress and match it
Yeah.
up like that. It would be very easy to just pick like a polka dot dress,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really matter how those panels come together. But the thought that's gone in, the zip, the way the zip matches with that pattern there, that is not by coincidence. That is skill there.
Here, here. Then we had Minnie. I loved the fabric choice again, but look at those gathers there. Look at those puff
Yeah.
sleeves, brilliant. And I noticed this. Did you not think on the edit as they were getting us all hyped up for who's going to be cut out? Did you get the feeling that Sam's was going to be an absolute pile of poo in the edit? Did you not sense that?
No.
It seemed to me to come across that, oh, Sam's going to go because he looked like he was struggling with this. And then suddenly he absolutely pulls out this amazing finished make, which I thought
Well,
was...
I think you're right with the edit. We saw the start where he explained what he was going to do. And based on what had happened with the shorts and everything, it was kind of like, okay, but let's see what happens there. But because we've got 12 sewers, they didn't really swing back round and revisit him.
No.
So then, yes, it was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Not a shock that he was able to pull it off, but it was a bit of a shock that we didn't really see anything of him. And the next thing we do is see this fabulous shirt and trouser combo coming down the
Which is
runway.
great because the edit, in a way, lured us to the wrong person. It was misdirecting us, which is a skill.
Well, it didn't me. I didn't give it a second thought.
I did. I was like, oh no,
home.
Sam's going to be going. But look at that. Phenomenal shirt, fitted brilliant. Remember, it's their own story. That's his style. Looked great. And then they showed it. I had to zoom in for this because I loved it so much. The pocket. I know it's a simple pocket, but look at the points at the bottom there. That's just great sewing. So it was nice to flag that up for you, Sam. Then we have Emma's one. The trousers with the pocket, with the bow, the swimsuit with the cutouts. Lovely one.
I mean, it was. I was clutching at my pearls when she took her trousers off because I was like, "Is this appropriate for BBC?"
Before 9 o'clock.
But yeah. But again, it shows the range of skill and the fact that you've got this outfit that has this dual purpose. You could be walking along, what was it, the French Riviera we've talked about in the past, and you decide to go swimming and whoop, your trousers are off and then you're in the sea.
Then we go on to the bit that I perhaps want to talk about now, which Patrick talked about in his choices. We have this idea, and I've done a little slide for us: ambition
No.
versus execution.
It's,
So, Dawn, and we'll go back to hers, Dawn chose perhaps
that's Emma.
to get, let's get Dawn's up, to perhaps play it safe, as they would often say, do something that she knew she could make and execute it well, but perhaps not have the ambition there. She struggled with the neck, had to sort the neck out, redid it, and look at the redone neck.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got
Where are you going with
we've
it?
got that. Well, then we have Tim, who has gone for the ambition, a phenomenal
Right.
creative outfit. The waistcoat, the trousers, what a style that is, with the fly, the pockets. But they chose to say goodbye to Dawn and not Tim. Dawn was never in the bottom for round one pattern challenge or round two. Tim perhaps was. He was bottom for the
Oh, spoiler alert there. You just ruined
sorry,
it. Who went
the
home?
apple picking. So are those, were those two, I'm just trying to do that discussion between doing something that is ambitious, which Patrick wanted to reward, so he rewarded Tim, compared to Dawn, whereas the sewing bee is about sewing, and made to measure is about sewing a finished, perfect fit. What do you think?
Right. Well, it seems like you're the one who's decided to be controversial this series instead of me. I look, we've said it before. If you are going to do, and I'm not saying it was simple because she was using stretch fabric and doing all this, that, and the other as well. But if you are going to do a simple pattern, it has got to be finished to perfection. And it wasn't just the neckline. There were various bits and pieces, that were not finished in that way. All that really happened with Tim is that there was a little bit of undersewing, which he
Yes.
should have learned from the first
Yeah.
challenge, that would have made that waistcoat sit a bit better, especially under the arms. But like you're saying, the ambition was there, and this is the final one where you're supposed to be showing off a bit of your thing, and it is that thing. If you're going to do something relatively simple, it's got to be perfect.
Yes, that is true. Yes, because of the simplicity there.
Yeah,
So,
but that's not to say simple can't be
no, no,
good,
no.
but it's got to be good if you're going
Yeah.
simple. Somebody else doing everything. I mean, I think we did mention it in the chat, was that, and I know it's difficult because you've got a mixed group of people there, but the men had to make outfits, a top and a bottom, possibly from different fabric. I know, like we've just seen Tim's, it was
Yeah.
relatively, but it was a complicated
Yeah.
pattern. We've got the trousers and everything going on. We had the smock and the shorts for Lewis, and you then compare that to maybe okay, you might have had a bodice with a number of pieces in, but then a skirt that was just pleated or anything like that, full length, quite easy to attach. That's where you've got to then, and again, I'm not saying that Dawn's wasn't complicated enough, because she was using a sheer fabric, it stretched, that's what was causing her the issues. But she's got a full skirt there, or a full skirt attached to the dress, whereas Tim has got two
Yeah.
completely separate piece pattern as well. He's had to put the pockets on. He's got the green kind of semicircles on there as well on the waistcoat. He'd lined it all.
It's
He'd done all of
phenomenal.
that,
Yeah.
and you then say, right, well, he's done all of that,
Yeah.
and you've okay, it was lined, it was fully lined dress, but it's a dress where you've sewn maybe 4 or 5 bits together rather
Yeah.
than 10 or 12 bits together.
It's every sewing bee contestant must have that conversation with themselves when they're looking at all the briefs and they have to plan them and they have to submit them. They must
Well,
think,
and you're not going to know what anyone else is doing either. You're just looking at
yes,
yourself, going, "What can I do?" Because I wouldn't have, I would have probably chosen what Sam would have done, because I probably would have made
yeah,
myself shirts and trousers over and over. There is no way I would have done what Tim did, because I could have looked at that pattern and you might have said to me, "Oh, that would be really ambitious," and I'd be like, "Nah, I've only got four and a
that's
half
it.
hours or
Yeah,
whatever, not
yeah,
doing it." So it is about how risky you want to be. Because if I wanted to stand out, I would have chosen
yeah.
Tim's outfit. But if I wanted to survive week one, I probably would have chosen Sam's
It's
or
and they
Lewis's
must
because the
all have that
trousers were a bit
conversation
too
with
long.
themselves. Yeah, how
Yeah.
how ambitious do they want to be, or how do they want to nail the execution, or do they want to be under extra pressure? It's and this is why. And we often say it, and we'll say it again. We marvel at the bees because they have put themselves up there.
Yeah.
They have auditioned. They've auditioned again probably, and they've gone through 3 or 4 stages. They've put themselves
And
up
they've had
there.
to choose all of these
Yeah,
patterns in
yeah,
advance because you don't know when you're
no,
going out. So you'd have to chosen to get all of your patterns approved, for the 12
yeah.
weeks, even if you do end up going home in week one.
So
So you've had those discussions all the way when you're putting yourself together.
so they must be thinking, right, I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, what kind of route they want to take. So whatever they choose, it's phenomenal. So Dawn, Tim, all of you, we look forward to getting to know you more, but respect for you for auditioning in the first place, and then maybe for watching us and having to listen to what we say. But that discussion went through with Patrick, and he said that actually Dawn was pretty good with her execution. That was his wording. So it's pretty good, I suppose, says it all, doesn't it? But lacked ambition. We decided to keep Tim to reward his ambition for taking a risk. And I suppose that creates good TV as well, doesn't it? But we had to say goodbye to Dawn.
Well, so my turn to be controversial. So obviously we're told that Dawn has trouble with her
Yeah.
sight. We've seen how she's made adaptations. We saw in like the home video portion what she's done and how she's really thrown herself into this sewing to try and do it. We saw those adaptations there. I thought that it was great that, in the same way when you watch Strictly with someone who perhaps has lost a leg or something like that, to be able to go on and do this sort of thing. I think it's great to show that it is open to anyone,
Yeah.
that you can, if you want to sew, then you can get the magnifying glasses, you can get the tools. We saw she had a special tool to thread a needle and everything like that. My issue with Dawn going so early is I think it would have been quite nice to see
Yeah.
how she copes in different situations. Now, that's not a reason to keep her in. It's not a reason to exploit and keep her in. But I do feel that we didn't see enough of her and how she's kind of fought her way, because her clothes weren't awful. You couldn't sit there and go, well, it's clear she can't see what she's
No.
doing. The execution was good. And I'm not saying that that's why she should have stayed in, because that's,
No,
positive
but
discrimination in the other way. But it was nice for once
yeah.
to say, well, we've got this person. We had, I can't remember her name. She was lovely, because I think she even did one of our videos or certainly spoke on it, who didn't have the arm, did she? She didn't have the hand.
Oh, yes, Jill.
And
Jill.
she went quite
Yeah.
far. Yeah, she went quite far on that.
Yeah.
And it was great to see how you can still do those things. And I think, we got a glimpse of how Dawn was
Yeah.
still making brilliant clothes with this kind of disability. And I just felt we missed out on, a couple of weeks of seeing how she could have shown us or shown other people that this is not an avenue that is shut to
Well,
you.
I was angry when they sent her home because I was like, but Adele and Sam were bottom in the pattern challenge. Lewis and
Yeah.
Tim were bottom in the transformation
Yeah.
challenge. Dawn was nowhere near. So someone has just gone home, yet they weren't bottom or low bottom in the first 2 challenges. That's the bit that also blew my mind. It's like, ooh, it just.
But I can't remember because you sat there on the chat going, oh my God, who are they sending home? And I just went, well, they're sending Dawn home. So she must have done something. And you were like, no, they won't. And they literally then went, Dawn. And I went, told you so. But she must have done something that clocked in my mind. And I think it was the fact that she'd ruffled up some of because I think she did a bit of a rolled hem, and then she did have the trouble with the neck. And I fully appreciate that, she put herself under a lot of pressure because she says she doesn't do a lot of unpicking because it is very difficult for her to see what she's doing when it comes to that. She must have done enough for me to go, because you went, I have no idea who they're sending home, and I literally just went,
I chucked a slipper for it, so I'm going to chuck one now. because
not me.
Because in my mind, you really only go home if you've been in the bottom end of 1 or 2, and then a poor made to measure in my mind. But
I think you've been out of the system too long because you text and went, oh my god, I don't know who they're going to send home, and I said to you, it's going to be Tim or Dawn, and
Yeah.
then I went, and you went, no, it's not, and I went, it'll be Dawn, and that happened, and so I soon got back into the predictions
Okay.
quite well, but she must have done
Yeah.
something for me to then go, oh, it's either Tim or Dawn. But like you, Tim, unfortunately, Suffolk boy, had been in the bottom. So I knew that it would be Tim or
Yeah.
someone, and then
Yeah.
they'd picked apart a bit hers too much. That's why I said
Yeah.
her. And then I just got a feeling for it.
Viewers, if you were like Ting and going, yeah, it's Dawn halfway through, let us know. Or are you on?
Not halfway through. It was in the
It was
last
sorry.
challenge. I
Yes.
didn't say
Yeah.
through. Yeah.
Or if you're on my team, put Team Stuart in the chat.
What team? I have no idea what's going on.
So garment of the week. Let's finish off. Congratulations, Emma. They absolutely loved that.
But no, hang on. Do you know what? I mean, don't get me wrong. My whole thing, walking down the Riviera, pants off, into the sea, off you go, was a brilliant bit of sewing. But on the same basis that we've just said, Tim was in the bottom, Tim did all of this, Tim did all of that. Why didn't Tim potentially go home based on all of that judging? Everything. I've forgotten her name already.
Anna. I know. Why did Anna not get?
Anna.
Yeah.
Anna got
Yeah.
everything. And then she did that brilliant dress, which was a recycled,
Yeah.
like a recycled tablecloth dress, and she didn't
No.
win.
They didn't want to give it because that would have been the first person to get a quick, clean sweep. Clean sweep.
But if she's good
Episode
enough,
1.
give it to her.
I know, but maybe they're protected.
I don't sit at home. I don't sit at home marking essays and going, "Oh, well, he got an A on the last 3 essays, so I'm only going to give him a B this time." If she's good, give her all of the marks.
Who knows? But we've often talked about the production crew having a duty of care. If they had given it to her, would everyone be going, "Oh, because she's been sewing for years. She can't go and get. She's got 3 in a row."
No, everyone would be going. She won every bleeding round because she's good.
Well, I wanted her to win
What
it.
you don't do is have someone come out of nowhere and suddenly get it and just it. Yeah.
Well, interesting. Let us know as well, viewers, what you think.
Well, no, and sorry, but her made to measure wasn't rubbish.
No.
If you felt that the made to measure, her zip didn't match up, that the pattern didn't quite go, that it was at a wonky hem because she'd done it from a tablecloth, if that was all true, absolutely not a problem with it. But she looked stunning in her own work and had won the other 2 challenges. I'm not saying that.
This is Emma.
Again,
Emma.
No, Dawn went home.
This is Emma. This is this one.
Emma, I'm not saying she didn't deserve to win because it was a brilliant concept and I loved the way it worked and everything like that. You can't dispute the sewing and everything. In fact, we've said before, they're all good sewers to even have got this far. But when you're watching the show as a viewer, you go, well, Anna's really good.
Yeah.
But you've not given it to her.
Is it also... This is a perfect fit for a summer's day. Anna's, from their point of view, it doesn't look very summery. This fits.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but the audience are going to go, "Oh, this is this is summer. This is beautiful." It fits with them, so they're going to get less people arguing.
She literally pulled the picnic blanket up and turned it into a dress. How is that not summer?
I know. I wanted her to get it. I think perhaps the nation was expecting her to get it. It'll be interesting to see from the comments, won't it? Final slip account then was a grand 1 from me.
Well, that was yours. Yeah.
What's going on? Is it changing?
Well, yeah, it stayed on your side.
It did, didn't it? That's why I quickly whipped it off. Oh, brilliant! Oh dear. Well, there we are. That was look. 58 minutes. That's not bad, was it? For episode 1. Next week, though, Ting, it's prints and colours.
Which is a new theme.
But new theme and a cool reoccurring guest is coming back. Victoria, it's all about the adaptive patterns.
Oh, joy. I mean, well done, yeah.
Adaptive patterns.
You got rid of the disabled sewist, but yeah, fine, let's carry on.
You're going to love this, though, because they've got to make an adaptive pattern out of shell. We're going back to like the early 90s and the shell. See you later. Thanks, everyone. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. We're looking forward to reading it already. We can't wait for 10 more weeks with you. Get your transformations going. I've got my sewing machine out already and my overlocker. Tig.
Yep. They need to hashtag your Instagram, don't they? So we can show the pictures.
Absolutely. At the Woolpatch. I'll put it all in the description. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Great to be back. Here's to week 2 next week. See you all, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.